Echoes of the past room. Old houses carry histories of generations, whispers of lives once lived, memories of those who left. When John and Emily moved into an old Victorian house, they thought they'd found a hidden gem for their new beginning. But what lay within these walls was a history that was very much alive, with its own secrets and desires. The house stands on a secluded road in a town steeped in history. The couple is excited, though slightly uneasy as they walk through rooms that feel like they're hiding something. It's quiet, too quiet, and there's a strange, almost bitter smell that lingers. As they begin cleaning, they find scattered remnants of former lives. A faded photograph with unfamiliar faces, an old ring tarnished with age, and a torn, handwritten letter with words they can't quite make out. These weren't just things. They were artifacts of lost stories, left behind as if the house had claimed them. While examining each room, Emily stumbles upon a locked door at the end of a dark hallway. The doorknob feels icy, and no key fits. Even more unsettling, there's no indication of this room on the house's blueprint, sparking her curiosity and unease. Every inch of that hallway felt colder, and though they didn't yet know it, something behind that door was waiting for them. Over the following days, the room begins to exert an almost magnetic pull. Emily dreams about it every night, seeing faint, shadowy figures and hearing fragmented whispers. The couple's excitement slowly turns into anxiety as the door becomes an obsession. Some doors are meant to stay locked, but in the quiet of the night, Emily felt the door calling her, almost pleading for her to step inside. Unable to ignore the pull any longer, they break into the room. Inside, they find a strange mirror that covers one wall, as well as faint, worn markings on the floor that seem to resemble symbols. The air feels charged with a heavy, unearthly energy. Emily approaches the mirror, and the moment her hand brushes the glass, she's transported to another life, another time. A woman from a century ago, holding a candle in the same room, waiting for something with terror in her eyes. It wasn't just a vision. She was there, in another life, feeling emotions and fears that weren't her own. The next day, John has his own experience. He finds himself in a Civil War soldier's body, wounded, trying to crawl to safety, yet trapped in the same room. When he snaps back to the present, he's left with phantom pains and a growing fear. Each vision was growing darker, as if the house was pulling them deeper into its memories. It wasn't just a flashback. It was a warning. They try to avoid the room, but it seems impossible. Shadows flicker just outside their vision, and they see glimpses of figures from the past lurking in mirrors and windows. Emily begins to feel haunted by the woman she saw, seeing her reflection mimic her actions. The house wasn't satisfied with just showing them its past. It wanted them to feel, to understand the pain and fear of each soul that was bound here. Digging into the town's history, they find articles and journal entries about the house's previous owners, many of whom vanished under mysterious circumstances. They come across a diary left by a former tenant, which details strange visions and fears of an unseen presence that eventually consumed them. Page by page, they read about others who had felt the same unease, seen the same shadows, and felt the same terror. Each page warned them to leave before it was too late. With growing dread, they realize the room is more than just a collection of memories. It's a portal, a place where the original inhabitants performed soul-binding rituals. Each life they see was a person once, now trapped forever. The room's visions grow darker, more violent. Emily sees herself as one of the previous owners, crying, scratching at the walls, screaming for someone to let her out. John witnesses himself as another trapped soul, aging and deteriorating as the room consumes him. It was no longer just the past. The room was showing them what it would be like if they stayed, if they became part of its history. Terrified, they decide to flee the house for good. However, every time they approach the front door, they find themselves back in the room. The walls pulse, shadows grow, and the mirror now shows both of them trapped inside, watching themselves from the other side. They weren't alone. Behind their reflections were countless faces, faces of those who had come before, begging, screaming, warning. Realizing that breaking the mirror may be their only way out, they brace themselves. As they smash it, the entire house shudders, the walls seeming to breathe, releasing cries and whispers that fill every corner. Fractured faces of souls emerge, reaching out one last time before vanishing. With the mirror shattered, the house fell silent. The weight lifted. But as they stumbled outside, they saw one last haunting image. Their own reflections, still inside, watching them leave. Outside, John and Emily look back one last time, shaken but relieved. Yet, as they walk away, the reflection of the house in their car's rearview mirror shows a different story. Their shadows, faintly visible, still standing in the broken room, forever bound. They escaped, or so they thought. But in that house, some echoes are stronger than reality. And for John and Emily, the past will forever keep a part of them within its walls.